This Saturday, you're going to set up a market stall close to where you live. What decisions you're going to need to make. The key thing there is, what are you going to be selling? How are you going to sell it? And is it going to be you standing there? And if it's you, how are you dressed? How are you going to engage with people that approach the stand? This is all marketing, because marketing is how you go to market. And crucially, here's the killer question, right? How what you do on Saturday going to create such strong recommendation that everyone that comes to your stall goes away telling others about it, go back next Saturday.
What do you think there is between how people view marketing from the large organisations to the SMEs? Is there a difference, or perhaps a misunderstanding? What do you think is the comparison of the two?
Marketing shouldn't be a cost. It should be a profit driver. It should be a growth driver. It should be contributing actively in the fiscal year and beyond. So therefore, you need to be able to measure it. And that's been a lot of the frustration with marketers and with board level decision makers is around, well, what is marketing actually delivering? Whereas now it's so much more measurable.
What would a good marketing system look like for an SME? Sort of like touch points.
Yep, great. So
in this episode, I'm joined by Chris Burton. Chris is seriously sharp when it comes to marketing strategy. He looks at marketing properly, the full picture, the systems, the processes, the positioning, and what actually drives results over time. This one isn't theory, it's practical, high-level thinking that helps you see marketing in a much clearer way. Now let's get into the episode.
Chris, thank you very much for coming and working on it. I appreciate
Pleasure.
you coming down. Thank you so much.
great to see you again.
Yes, I know. Obviously, I've been wanting for ages actually for this to happen because, as I said, I reference you in so many posts, and when people ask how I got started and what influenced me, and even like how did I come up with the vision and all this sort of thing, I said, well, actually, I had a little bit of help. It wasn't quite all on my own. So I do mention you, so it's great to have you on. So thank you very much. What do you think has been the biggest changes in the marketing for the last 20 years?
Yeah, it's there's been lots going on. It's becoming the biggest changes. It's becoming a lot more specialist. So in other words, as technologies come in to actually be successful at connecting with customers at the right time with the right message, there's all sorts of technology involved. And a good example would be, for example, Google Ads. And it becomes so advanced. Actually, you need specialists to actually run it who are living in it every day. And I think that's really the orchestra. If you think about the marketing setup you need to really succeed, think about it as an orchestra, right? You got to choose, first of all, you got to understand who you're playing to, who's the audience, who the audiences you want to get to. And then you got to choose the instruments that you need to play the right music to attract those and retain them. And so they go away going, that was amazing. I want to go to the next one. You should go to the next one. So the instruments are the tools.
Yeah.
And the music they play is the messaging and the tonality of it all. And so actually it's become a lot more, there's more tools. With technology, it's brought more tools, which is fantastic. It's made it a lot more measurable, which is fantastic, because ultimately marketing shouldn't be a cost. It should be a profit driver. It should be a growth driver. It should be contributing actively in the fiscal year and beyond. So therefore, you need to be able to measure it. And that's been a lot of the frustration with marketers and with board level decision makers is around, well, what is marketing actually delivering? Whereas now it's so much more measurable. And the technology that's come and the specialism that's grown out has made it a lot more measurable and a lot more visible in terms of its return. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that the technology is really helping marketeers to become more accountable, more measurable, and show the true value of what marketing can bring to a business. So yeah, I wouldn't be running a Google. Years ago, I could run a Google Ads campaign and get it profitable and the rest of it. Now, whoa, step back. Let the specialists do that, right? They're part of the orchestra. Yeah. So whether it's different channels, different instruments you're playing, I need to be the conductor, not the instrument player.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, really. It's exciting. It's enabling. And with AI, of course, it's huge, and that's hugely enabling. But yeah, that's another story. Hey?
That's so advanced, isn't it? The AI stuff that's coming out now, it's absolutely crazy.
It's bonkers.
Yeah. So I tell you what I've noticed from my sort of like amateur level is that years ago it was really easy to kind of just perhaps have I don't even remember when we first met. You said to me, back in 2019, you said, what marketing campaign have you had so far and what's brought you success? I'm like, I've not got a marketing campaign. I didn't even have like a CRM at the time. It was brand new. But I built up a business at that point because it was a lot of it was word of mouth, but it was far simpler in a sense that
Yes.
you put something on the website, and if you want to do some ads and you want to boost revenue, then you then go onto Google Ads, as you said. You know, you kind of do it yourself. But what I understand from it now is you have to be so much clearer on who your target audience is. And there's an example that I can give, and there's a guy that I follow on one of the platforms. I can't remember which one it is now, and he really understands the power of targeting the right audience.
Yeah.
Because the way he delivers his message is, this is what my product is for, and in this area I'm one of the best at, but I don't deliver to these people. So I'm not his target audience.
Yeah.
So sometimes the message that he sends, I'm like, oh, he's very cocky, or he's very this or that. But then at the end of it, it's like, but I don't deliver to these people. Well, that's me. So okay, that's probably why it's not resonating thoroughly with me. But I totally respect his clarity on who his target audience is, and he's literally making success, like so much success in such a short space of time. And I think that's probably where marketing is so much more powerful now. But what do you think? I mean, it's more personable now, isn't it? You really have to understand, strike through to the pain points more so now than ever before. It's not so much cast a fishnet out and go out and see what you can get back. It's, you know, it's like laser focused now, isn't it? That message, that tone, as you say, you know, the tonality of it all.
Absolutely. It's all about focus. It's all about which part of a market do you want to play in. And actually, it's all about really stepping back, like we did years ago, and saying, hey, when is this business absolutely at its best? Yeah. What's its sweet spot? You know, where's its magic point, right? Let's focus on that, because actually, if all the business that you got had you in your sweet spot at your best all the time, happy days, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating customers that love what you do for them, because they see the value and they want more and more and more. So that's the role for marketing, really, is to connect, and particularly brands, to connect to the right audiences and then grow their lifetime value, because hey, it's much more profitable to keep existing customers and grow them rather than trying to have to constantly go out and find new customers. I think that's really where strategic marketing comes in. It's actually saying, hang on, let's understand where this business is at its best. Now, where's the demand for that in the market? What markets, what part of markets actually are going to resonate with this business doing what it does best? And actually, that's the focus. And then within that market, who are the decision makers? Who are the influencers within that part of the market? And what I'm talking about really here is called positioning. And it's all about that strategic bit of first saying, how are we going to position this brand for this business? Because business might have 2 or 3 brands, it might have 1 brand, doesn't matter. But where are we focusing that? And that's really where the strategic marketing bit comes in. Which market are we going to play in where we know this business can win and win profitably? And you may or may not have heard of the whole phrase around red ocean and blue ocean. Don't you come across that?
I've read the book. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So you know what I mean.
But but please explain.
So you know, red ocean is where, you know, it's hugely competitive. Sharks are in the water. Everyone's dog eat dog. Are after every bit of share they can get within that marketplace. There's blood in the water, hence red ocean, right? But that's where the margins are really low, because it's who's the most competitive, who can do it fastest, quickest, cheapest. Is that really where you want your business? Or do you want to let those guys beat each other up over low margin business and go somewhere else in the blue ocean, which actually is where there is real demand that no one else has found yet, and actually you can carve out and be first, be the authority and the pioneer in that marketplace, and achieve much higher margin and satisfaction, be in your sweet spot, in effect. And I think that's really where the strategic marketing bit comes in, because it's about where you play to win. Because there's no point playing and not being able to win, right? You might as well win, right?
Yeah.
So it's not good for your mojo if you don't do that. So that's really kind of where it starts. So I think that's the bit I'd like to add, which is around market, which part of the market, or which markets are going to resonate most with your business at its best. And then within that, who are the audiences? And a lot of time I see folks saying, oh yeah, well, these are the decision makers. Yeah, but it's more than decision makers that we need to get to, and marketing needs to get to. We need to get to the influencers, because if those decision makers have to go up and influence upwards to get things approved, like big tenders or a committee or a group of other influencers, if those people don't know about your brand or your business and what makes you different and more valuable, then you're kind of going into that room unprepared and with one arm behind your back, or that buyer is going in, or that decision maker is going in, not armed to be successful. And several businesses I work with, they're not deliberate. They're not the cheapest in the market. Well, yeah, fine, because the layers of value that are added are significantly more, so they're worth paying for. That return, right? As a customer, you pay more, you get more.
Yeah.
And those layers of value need to be visible. So those influencers need to know that. So actually, a lot of the time, marketing is about credentials, establishing credentials, and awareness amongst people who actually don't make the decisions, but will heavily influence those decisions.
So you want to be front of mind, or certainly all stakeholders, everyone in the entire decision process would have either heard of you or know of you and understand what your values are, in a sense.
That's the ideal.
Yeah, that's perfect. This is why I got you on, because you got people that think of marketing. Okay, right, let's just do a campaign, or let's just do this and that. But you've always seen it as a much higher level. That could be because obviously you're sort of like is it CMO and fractional CMO and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you look at things at a much higher level, and I think that's what changed us, certainly, and I'm sure all of your clients, because it's having that ability to look at the broader picture and understand where is it you want to go, who can help you get there, and like you say, your sweet spot is probably the best way for you to get there eventually. And you mentioned red and blue ocean. The red ocean is just stressful. Yeah. It's just headache. It's just non-stop. But the blue ocean, you're really thriving. You're ticking over smoothly. And you're doing what you do best, and delivering a great service, getting 5 stars most of the time, or all the time. And that certainly on the surface sounds the best way to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, it totally is. And I think if we just take a step back and you talk about that, sort of looking at things from a higher level, the way I look at marketing, and there's so much myth around marketing and what marketing is. I mean, you ask 20 people, they'll all come back with something different, right? And the classic thing is people go, oh, yeah, that's about the tools, right? They'll talk about Facebook, or they'll talk about AI, or they'll talk about all the tactics that you need. Yeah. Remember, I talked about the orchestra, the members of the orchestra playing those instruments, right? That's what they tend to focus on. Actually, what I tend to start with is to say, hang on, think about an analogy. So if I was going to say to you, right, here's a challenge for you, right? This Saturday, you're going to set up a market stall close to where you live, right? Now, think about what decisions you're going to need to make to set that stall up this Saturday. Where are we now? Wednesday, so this Saturday, your challenge. You're going to be there, okay? What's that going to be? What decisions are you going to need to make in your mind? What are those? Let's talk about quickly about what some of those decisions might be.
Well, first of all, stand.
Right.
And weather, so perhaps a stand with a canopy and so on.
Yeah.
Getting the word out.
Yeah.
Which I'd probably use social media for that, for quickness.
Yeah.
And the plot, where am I going to set it up?
Yeah.
And I'll understand the footfall to understand where am I going to get the best plot for what I'm trying to sell.
Yeah. And say you weren't doing what you're doing around your business now. Say park that, use anything.
Yeah.
The key thing is, so what are you selling? What are you going to be selling?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
What are you selling? How are you going to sell it?
Yeah.
And is it going to be you standing there? And if it's you, how are you dressed? How are you going to engage with people that approach the stand, the stall, right? All these things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is all marketing, because marketing is how you go to market. So there's a whole plethora of stuff. Pricing. Yeah. It all comes at merchandising. And crucially, here's the killer question, right? Is how what you do on Saturday going to create such strong recommendation that everyone that comes to your stall goes away telling others about it and go back next Saturday. That's the killer.
Yeah.
That's the turnkey thing that makes it from a kind of a business that can do well to a business that is really going to thrive. Because the numbers have been out there for years. I think I remember telling you years ago, you got a customer that strongly recommends your business. They typically create 8 times their own lifetime value through recommendation, because they're talking to others, right? I've been in business where it's been 15 or more times their lifetime value. And that's huge, right?
That is.
Hang on a minute, whoa, that's the same effort and focus you put into your business, but if you're creating all those customers that strongly recommend, wildly different result. And so therefore, for me, that's marketing. That stand, that you next Saturday there, all those decisions are effectively marketing decisions, because you've chosen how you're going to show up, how you're going to interact, how you're going to create strong willingness to recommend. And your brand is your guide about how you do, how you show up, what you look like, how you speak, how you engage, how you connect, how you create that strong willingness to recommend. And that's really the starting point, I think, is understanding how you want to go to market, or how you should go to market, and then fine tuning your brand so all the signals that it sends and how you do things just resonates madly, and it's different. So we talk about, for example, customer experience. And we talked a lot, didn't we, years ago, about shaping your customer experience. And we talked about, well, what are the pain points for these buyers for Outmanoeuvre, right? What's their frustration? And I think we talked about, well, actually, their frustration is they just don't know what's going on. You know,
communication.
You might do a fantastic window to not Outmanoeuvre, but in general in the market, lots of great work being done, but one, they don't see it or don't know. They don't know what the status is, where it's at, has it happened, has it not happened? Residents, how do they get in the mix, and how do they get their questions answered spectacularly quickly, and everything else. So it was all actually, wasn't it? It was about customer experience that we focused on.
Definitely, yeah.
Because that's how you can differentiate.
That's it. And I think that's how you then get the recommendations that you spoke of, which then effectively is going to grow the business. So even if you targeted your marketing campaign or marketing project, you said, right, okay, the target of our entire marketing project that we're going to dig deep into is to create recommendations. Even if that's a strap line, you could then work back, couldn't you? Sort of begin with the end in mind. That's the end to get their multiple lifetime value from recommendations. So you think, well, how are they going to recommend? One, it's the right people. You've got to do business with the right people, because if you're doing business with the wrong people, they're not going to recommend. So it's almost like, how do you do that? Okay, you attract them by this message that you're going to send out. Yeah. And it kind of works backwards, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's quite,
And do you remember, it was interesting because
we look at it, that's sort of like, that is real top down, but it just, is it going to, every decision is, okay, is it going to get the customers to recommend us? Yes or no? If it's no, then why would you bother them?
Right.
You know, yes, then okay, let's go to town on that one.
Because everyone puts the same energy in, but you get a better result.
Exactly, yeah, that's right. That's a good way of looking at it, yeah.
And I remember when we were looking at the Outmanoeuvre brand, and we were looking at sort of fine-tuning it and being really clear about the DNA of the brand, right? It's important though, isn't it? You remember the values and what the beliefs are, because the values then drove behaviours. And we talked up front. I remember the session with all your team, and they were really engaged. They were really interested. And we were just talking about, so what about brands, and why do brands exist in the first place? You know, I was saying about going back to Roman times. There was wheat, there were animals, all with branded. So that's Brad's sheep. That's Chris's wheat. Yeah. Because there's a wine or bread or whatever. In fact, last year at Pompeii, just on the outskirts of Pompeii, they pulled some bread out that had been absolutely cocooned in the ash. They found a loaf of bread from when the volcano went off, and on that bread was the branding of that baker. So that went back any further, right? Yeah. And it's because what it does, it helps people make decisions. If you stand for something and people buy into that and start talking about it, simple, isn't it? I mean, you got the average supermarket, big supermarket's got 22,000 lines in that store. So if you imagine if you didn't have a brand and you walked into that store, it'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it? Yeah. Get to find what you want and all the rest of it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So functionally, brands are there, but emotionally, brands are there. And now what I mean by that is that, certainly my professional opinion, brands exist because what they do is they help attract the right people to your business, all right, and connect with those people. Now, that's twofold. That's customers, but it's also talent. It's also the people that you want in your business, the right people that work, aligned to your values and your ethos and your view about what you want to achieve, your passion for, exceeding expectations for customers, so they strongly recommend. You want the right people that are aligned to your brand and what it stands for in your business, so everyone's rowing in the right direction. Otherwise, I remember, when we first met, not everyone was rowing in the right direction. No. And what was that like? What did that feel like?
Oh, it was constant mayhem.
Stressful.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It diverts you as a business leader, someone who's managing the business, moving it forward, diverts your time into sorting things out that you shouldn't need to sort out because people aren't on board. And I think what was really interesting about when we ran the first session with your team, and we started talking about brands, and I said, let's have some examples about guys that, brands that you admire or you've connected with. And I remember one guy said, Dyson. I said, why Dyson? Yeah, well, great British engineering, great technology, fantastic product. I mean, it just works better than anything else in the market. Looks great, feels it. What an awesome thing. I said, well, that's interesting, isn't it? I said, so I got talking a bit further, and all of a sudden he put his hand up and he said, so Chris, he says, what you're saying is we could be the Dyson in our market.
Yeah.
And I went, sure you can.
Mm.
You just got to make it happen.
Yeah.
And there was that connection with, I think I saw in your team, where they said, well, there's a sense of pride, actually. You mean, in words, we could do this and we could be associated with that.
Yeah.
That would make us feel much better about what we do and how we do it. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So it's the psychology behind it. It's all about connection. And that's really the power, invisible power of brand. And if we all think about, brands that we've connected with, or we're committed to in inverted commas, we love, whatever that might be, whatever the market is, whatever the situation, that brand's done something special to connect with us at an emotional level. And therefore that drives our behavior and our connection to that brand. But it has to consistently deliver that. And you've seen so many brands that kind of fallen off and away. They've been attracted by these, let's go and be that.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do. And actually it alienates and it becomes less relevant for people that they maybe originally started with. And sometimes that's deliberate because brands want to refocus and attract a new target market. Example, last year, Jaguar cars.
Right.
Complete rebrand. And the traditionalists, everything went, what is that? What have they done? And I don't know what the younger generation thought of it. Maybe that was that. Well, they would have researched it, so they know what the younger generation would have thought about it, which is why they went with it. But very courageous move. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. It's what's important is, to the people that Jaguar want to connect with, do they love it? Does that resonate with them? And I think there's a difference here between what I'm saying about brand and branding. Branding is a very small part, but it's an important part of a brand. It's the signals that it sends. It says, I'm for you. Or I'm not for you. And that's really important. And so therefore, when I shudder when, I see people say, I can buy a logo for £1,000 and it's really, that's much better than spending 2 or 3. Well, hang on a minute. What signals does your brand need to send? Colour, shape, the imagery, everything else. Is it sending the right signals? Is that all together? I remember seeing a talk years ago, Ruby Wax. And she did a whole PhD in advanced psychology, and she was talking about a whole thing called semiotics. Oh, semiotics!
What is that?
Semiotics. Ruby, what are you talking about? Science of meaning. You can actually get a PhD in semiotics, and what it's about, the signals that things are sent, and how that connects with your brain, and how that makes you feel. So shapes, the type of shape, the smoothness, the sharpness of it all, the colours, the treatment of colour. Words, all these things. It's all about what things mean. So my challenge to anyone is, so what signals is your brand sending, and how do you know they're the right signals for the right audiences you're trying to influence? So that's kind of a bit around that. But I love the whole, your team and their reaction going, yeah, they got it. It clicked straight away. We can live this.
Yeah.
And the second session that I think we ran years ago was, all right, hey guys, now you got this and you're all excited about it all. So how are you going to make it happen? How are you going to create that strong recommendation with the customers that you're going to see day in, day out? Oh, okay, yeah, this is where the rubber hits the road, guys. From the values and the behaviours and the mission, the vision about where you're going, all that. You get that now, right? How are we going to do this? And I remember running a whole load of things. Got ideas from them. You remember before they visit, during the visit, after the visit. Yeah. Wow, up it went on the flip chart years ago. And at the end of it, I remember saying to them, so how do you feel about this now? Do you feel you're going to do this? I went, yeah, I'm going to do this now. Great, you've just defined your operating standards. Really? And so we produced that little book, didn't we?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I think with them, they felt invested in it because they came up with a lot of the ideas. So now they're almost committed to what we were trying to achieve as well. So I think that was very smartly done. But also it just underlines, if you get everybody facing in the same direction, the power of that. And that kind of contributes to building a great culture, or certainly a good culture to then the great culture. But I know, depending on who you speak to, I had Paula Mitchell. Do you know Paula Mitchell? So yeah. I had her on here as well. Now she's culture.
Yeah.
So she was like, yeah. She literally just spoke all about sort of like the togetherness of it, and then how to intertwine certain personalities and so on. And for her, it was really important, and I do believe that as well. But then it's all, you need all elements, because you're like, okay, how are you going to get that message out?
Right.
How's people going to find out about this great culture?
Right.
And that's where the marketing comes. That's your tone, that's your brand.
Exactly.
You invest in people, it's all about staff, etc., and a great culture, but you still got to get that message out there. And how are you going to dress it up? I think that's where the marketing comes in. So a lot of people think, oh, well, I've got a great culture, or I've got a great service, or I've got a great product. Yeah, okay, yeah, but you might not be doing any sales. You know, so it's that sort of thing. It's the whole thing, isn't it? And it's from start to finish.
Totally.
But getting it right, because you might have an awesome product, an awesome culture, but you might not be turning over any profit or any money, whatever, because you think we haven't branded it right, because you're targeting the wrong people.
Yeah.
So they don't value your culture or your good service. So it's really understanding that, isn't it? The power of it, and digging deep. As you say, like from the top down, understanding what's the tonality of your message you're going to be sending out.
Exactly that. And brand and culture, just like that. That is it. Because culture's kind of how we roll around here, right? It's how things are done. I didn't see all of what Paul had mentioned, but I would be very surprised if it's any different to that. It's how we roll. It's how you choose to roll. It's how things are done. Because a lot of time, the value that the business adds isn't what it does. It's how it does it, right? So, and that's where brand and several of the businesses I'm working with right now are going through a similar thing that we went through years ago. And I'm working hand in hand with the HR to the people team. And actually say, hang on, we want to drive this high performance culture, or this results focused culture. What are the key behavioural traits that we need to? How does that connect to the values, the brand values, and the values? Because values and behaviours are outcomes of values. Values are the beliefs. It's what we believe is important. Therefore, this is how decisions we make and how we behave. So the whole thing just comes together beautifully. So that, back to the market stall analogy, the Saturday, you're standing there and you're selling whatever, and it's how you're doing it. That's it. It's how you roll. It's how we do business. It's how we connect. It's how we engage, right? It's how things are done. And I think what we've been talking about now is the fullness of really what marketing actually is. Which is so linked to how you go to market. And it's fascinating how the two, culture and the brand bit, all comes together. And you've been discovering that, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing I wanted to get across on this podcast, was to say that, like our session is to say that marketing isn't just SEO, isn't just pay-per-clicks, it isn't just, because when we worked together, you deep delved into every department. And I got you on to talk about marketing out. Do you know what I mean? So you went into every department. And I was like, why is this guy concentrating on that? I've got that. And it was only after I was like, okay, I see why he's concentrating on that. Because it all has a role to play to delivering this brand, this message. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because of those reasons. I wanted to sort of like bring awareness to it. It's just so much more than just pay-per-clicks and just adverts on Facebook. The reason being because I've been active on LinkedIn for a little over a year now. And I get messages from business owners and stuff, and they're just either starting out, they've been going for a year or two and so on. And I'm trying to explain to them, but don't quite understand. And then that was one of the reasons why I started this podcast. I said, look, I'm getting bombarded with quite a lot of messages and so on from people, business owners. I was asking, as they would, asking advice and so on. And so I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to get the expertise that helped me I can then deliver the answers to them. And that was one of the big things that I wanted to get from this, was understanding, look, it's not just these pay-per-clicks. There's so much more to it, as I experienced. And that's why I kind of got you in, which is brilliant. So
how did you find it so it should make a difference in terms of hiring the right people as well, with to your brand? How have you found that?
Definitely. So we have, most of the time, I think we've only ever, so we've gone from, I think it was about 12 or 13 people, I think, when we were working together. So now we've got like 41 in total. So, and we've only ever advertised for a job role once. And the rest of the time, it's been recommendation, or a lot of the time, we actually have a waiting list of people waiting to join.
Fantastic.
I think my ops manager could probably confirm, but I think we've still got about 2 or 3 waiting to join when we reopen a recruitment, which we tend to do around about springtime. So, but that's kind of, the message that's been sent out. So you mentioned it earlier on about getting that message out from your brand and your marketing, from your customers, but also talent.
Yeah.
I can stand here and say that really, really plays a major part, because it's everyone hears about what you're trying to achieve, your journey, what you're trying to embark on, and your vision and so on. And a lot of them want to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's the reason why we have a bit of a wait. And sometimes whenever we get them in, they say, oh, we checked your website out, or we heard about this. You done this. Like one of the guys we took on recently, he knew a couple of events that I even done. Like, and he's, oh yeah, I checked. Aquamark done this build. Now, so he done his research, and then it was almost a done deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I said, I just confirmed it. I was like, okay, yeah, okay. He goes, yeah, I'd love to be a part of this. Okay, sure. They've already got that message out there, so it's really powerful for both sides.
Yeah.
And you say your talent and customers.
Yeah, fantastic. So we also remember when we talked about the customer experience and getting them focused on creating strong recommendation. And we said, well, one of the ways of measuring that is saying, well, the guy said, how are we going to do that? How are we going to know? How are we going to? So, guys, you talk about measurement, right? Yeah, okay. So we started looking at the Net Promoter Score. Do you remember that? With the whole.
Still got it.
Great.
Still got it.
So how's that? Tell me, how's that worked for you in terms of the simplicity and clarity of that? Because we thought, well, if we've got teams of guys going in, we've got individuals, that team could have a Net Promoter Score based upon the customer experience that team created at that any given time. And then the team might be different the next time, the next job. It doesn't matter. That those team members would carry that score with them, and it would help motivate and focus them. And how's that whole journey? Because that must have been a journey for you to go on.
Yeah, so that was kind of one of the things that's part of their bonus structure.
Yeah,
is their Net Promoter Score that they bring.
Brilliant.
And also the fact that they have. So whenever we get good feedback, we always put it on. We've got a WhatsApp group, so we always put it on there, and we call out the teams, etc. And it's almost like a competition kind of thing, like a camaraderie kind of thing. So it creates that kind of lift. So when someone gets something, another team might have done it before, and I didn't get 9.5. You know what I mean? Okay, yeah, because they done X, Y, Z. Okay, right, okay. Then when they go back, they're like, well, I want a 9.8 or whatever, whatever it is. So it kind of creates that culture in a sense.
Right.
So it really helps. It's a small thing, but I think it depends on when you catch them. So if they're struggling or something, and at the end of the week, you're releasing some good reviews that we've had and good scores from a team or a service that they've delivered, all of a sudden you think, actually, it wasn't such a bad week after all.
Yeah.
So it's these little things that kind of contribute towards the culture umbrella, as it were.
Yes.
And I think that came from us understanding what service are we delivering, which then came from, okay, what service are we actually bringing to the market, which came from where are we going to market, the tone, the brand, and the whole thing. So it all just escalates down to the team and the deliverability and reward and so many areas. So but it's whole understanding of what you're trying to achieve in the first place, your sweet spot and the service you're delivering. So what would you think is the difference between, because you worked in some large organizations as well, is there a difference, and if there is, what do you think there is between how people view marketing from the large organizations like boards, etc., to the SMEs, sort of like the 1-2 man bands and so on? Is there a difference, or perhaps a misunderstanding? What do you think of the comparison of the two?
Yeah, I've had a good slice of different big, large companies in my early part of my career, corporate career. So sort of companies that are in sort of fast-moving consumer good marketing. So brands like Andrex, clean brands like Glade, Toilet Up, Mr. Muscle. So in fiercely competitive markets, the business is up against a big global players with very deep pockets and resources for marketing, and also then into retail. And I noticed quite a difference between the fast-moving consumer good folks and how they viewed marketing and how they organised the business and how they invested in it and resourced it versus the retail guys. The FMCG folks are very much around our brand is a business unit. It's an asset, and of course retailers would agree the same. But the difference was there was much more of what I call brand management approach to marketing in the fast-moving consumer good companies, because they looked at the brand in its fullness. I said, actually, we need to resource product innovation. What's the innovation strategy here? How do we resource innovation? How do we, the channel strategy about where the brands are going to play and where they're not going to play? It was very much a holistic thing. When you worked on a brand, and when you work on a brand in a fast-moving consumer good company, you feel part of this is a business. We're investing in, and we're affecting the P&L, and we're affecting the balance sheet. And actually it's a business strategic, more of an investment. And much more sort of, yes, this year we need to achieve this, but what about the midterm? And I found FMCG companies very much focused on the midterm investment. So what do we need to succeed? It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, actually, and we need to stay. If we've got specific objectives of getting a brand to number 1 market share or number 2 or number 3, we need to work towards that. And here's our investment over a period of time. So that was, for me, that was perfect. I chose to have that start to my career, to get that fullness, to get that real commerciality and strategic nature behind who I am as a marketeer. What I found with retail is they didn't really get all of that. They were much more short-term focused, much more short-term. And that was very frustrating from the client. I said, hang on a minute, we've got a brand here and we need to get it over here. Yeah, we need to, what were the sales last week? And then they go, well, hang on a minute, whoa. Journey.
Yeah.
And they weren't so receptive as that. And that's just the nature of what retail is, Slam, bam, do this.
It's like quite cutthroat figures now, like numbers to hit and so on.
Yeah. And it's becoming increasingly intense because with technology, I mentioned earlier, because you asked me the question about, what's changed in marketing. Well, much more visibility about what is happening and the impact of what you're having and what you're doing. Fantastic for a marketeer because you can fine tune things really quickly. But the expectations of what can be delivered, especially with AI on us now, and with us and working with us, which is hugely exciting and enabling, it's just gone through the roof. We do things much faster, much quicker, impact. And so it's exciting. It's really changing. And I think when I step back and I look at AI and I've been using AI for ages in marketing. And it's brilliant because what it enables me to do is to spend more of my time in the value add, because I can accelerate through things that took a lot longer, like research. My gosh, I mean, what used to take me traditionally when we were working, if I was going to properly research a market, I'd be like, several days in the British Library and online researching stuff. I go into ChatGPT now and I can do deep research and I can get stuff back in 40 minutes. And then within, a day or so, I've got a massively full and comprehensive, validated, bit of research, which would have taken me over a week or more.
Yeah.
So that's hugely enabling, Brad. I mean, it's great because what it means is I can get involved in much more in, so where does this business need to play then? How could it win? What are the new emerging markets where this business needs to be so it can win in the midterm and the long term? See
Definitely, yeah. I was going to say that, would I then think that, let's say, for instance, for an SME, you almost, although the larger organisations have the budget and obviously the manpower, but would AI now bring it a bit more of a level playing ground?
Yeah, I think
because of that.
Yes,
I know it depends. So like ChatGPT is like LLM. So it's kind of like I use it. Many people misunderstand it. They think, okay, you ask it a question, shut it down. That's it. That's not how you use it. I've had a couple of AI guys on, and they've told me how to use it. I'm not a wizard. I've only been told how to use it. And it's almost like a conversational tool.
Yeah.
So as if you're in a room with the most powerful and most intelligent heads of the world, you wouldn't go in there and ask them a question and leave the room. You would have a conversation, and that's how you treat it. So with that used correctly, would it be more of a level playing field now because of that?
Definitely. I think, and a long way of not answering your question earlier, the difference between SME and the big companies. SME is small is beautiful. Agility is everything. And that's where the SMEs have a massive competitive advantage, in my view. And that's one of the reasons I stopped working in corporate after 20 years and wanted to switch my attention to coming into small medium-sized business, because we could make things happen so much faster. There's no bureaucracy. There's speed. It's almost like the power of thought you spoke earlier on.
Yeah.
It's really exciting, right? Yeah. Because what they can see is, and actually they can see where they need to go once I've shown them this is the market. So you think you can really, really get there. How do we go? Let's do it. And then we can just get there and do that. But with AI, we can do it faster. We can get there better, faster, actually. More considered. We can accelerate research. Doesn't mean to say we don't do proper research. No, not at all. It means we can use AI to augment some of that, but we still need to do proper research to really understand the pain points of the customer, so we can really fine-tune the brand and we can really fine-tune the offer, create competitive advantage, and be in that blue ocean and get the margin for it. And I think small business, and I can tell you now, I'm working with 2 small businesses. They're up against global players and outmanoeuvring them.
That's insane, isn't it? That's brilliant.
Because they can move faster. And you talk to the customers that are buying these brands, they're going, your response and your focus as a small business is off the scale compared to, on us, is off the scale. We've off the scale compared to the largest, because the largest companies can't deliver that level of focus that you are. So
Yeah.
very much, it's an exciting, increasingly exciting and enabling environment for SMEs right now. So in the next 5-10 years, to beat the big guns. And we're seeing it, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're seeing it in tech. We're seeing it, where was Uber? Years ago, what was Uber? No one even knew about Uber.
Yeah.
Look where Uber came from and went to. I mean, it's huge. And the speed of brands coming on now and being able to do things better than the big company or creating new markets, blue oceans, and just owning them. Astonishing. Exciting.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's I think with that it's with that tool, like you say, more flexibility for the smaller brand or smaller companies and so on, small brands even. But you can do it. Like you don't have to go through a board and wait for everyone to be in and then make a decision.
No.
By the time they've even brought the question up or proposed a decision, a smaller company's already made a decision, done, and they're on their way. So, and now with AI, it's just like a jet fuel. Like it really propels them forward so much, and I love that. It's brilliant. It's great to see because it's almost like they can't be outmaneuvered or bullied or anything like that. You think, okay, well, they're a big company. Long gone are the days of they're a big company. We're not even going to compete with them, so forget it. Now we're like, yeah, we have. Oh, and by the way, we have AI behind us as well. So whatever we already know it anyway. So it's crazy, isn't it? How you can use that in a business.
Yeah.
And everything else, of course.
Smaller businesses can shape the customer experience quicker. They can change the customer experience quicker because you've got less people. You can get to the people who are delivering the customer experience at the front end, whether they be delivery drivers, whether they be service providers, whether they be cleaning windows up on side of buildings. That can change. You could change your customer experience next week, couldn't you, if you wanted to, or if you needed to?
Yeah, definitely.
And the way I'm sure you'd do it would be you get everyone together and go, right, here's what we need to achieve. How are we going to do this, guys? How are we going to make it happen? So they've got ownership and they've got in on it.
That's right.
Try and do that on a large business that's scaled. Whoa.
Yeah.
It's really challenging and time consuming. So small is beautiful.
That's right. So if I said to you, sum up customer experience, what would you say?
It's what your customers feel and actually experience, and it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. That is customer. It's the experience you're providing. Simple as that. So it can be, and a great way to measure that is what you're doing. You're just saying, well, based upon your most recent experience, how willing would you be to recommend? In other words, how well have we actually done? And then the second question, tell us why you rated that, and they'll tell you what it was that stood out, bad or good. And for me, what's important from a brand's perspective is to very clearly and simply, we talk about everyone rowing in the same direction, have a few principles. That's it. Overall, it says no more than 3 principles that define your brand's unique customer experience. Okay? So what makes it unique? So what you want customers to uniquely experience. And let's go back a second. Where does that come from? It comes from, where's this business at its best? What's its sweet spot? How are we then going to take that to market through everything? Not just what we do, but how we do it. And then what they actually in reality experience. And there's a couple of ways we do it. You do it as we just described on a kind of their most recent experience. But also there's a midterm thing to this too. So often companies forget to do this, which is where they think, well, actually, what do the buyers, the most important decision makers when they're buying from your company, how do they feel kind of over the last 6 months? How's it been going with that's important too, right? Because you might be doing some great things here and there, but some stuff's going on in the background, you're not measuring, that's not good. So you there's the need to do that sort of what I call midterm or what's called long-term Net Promoter Score, measurable customer experience and measurement. But back to the kind of principles, I tend to sort of stick to these 3. So it's not a unique brand experience unless it's got this, this, and this. And actually, that comes from your point of difference. That comes from your values. It comes from the idea behind your brand, the theme that is never spoken about, but it's always you want it to be experienced and felt, right? And it's actually quite straightforward to identify that when you've got clarity about everything else around your brand and what that stands for, your purpose, why the business does what it does, the values, the vision, the better place you're taking the business to, what the impact it's going to have in the market, the role it plays in the market. And that all gets buttoned into 3 things, right? And it's very easy to be able to get people to understand that and then to very quickly role play that. So so for example, in your business, we'd be saying, right, okay, there's this job. Come on, give us an example of a great job, a prestigious job, and oh, it's this, it's X Towers or this building. Great, right? Imagine that's the job. Now, describe how, as a team, you're going to bring this customer experience alive. People can experience it, and that's who's going to experience this. The residents in the okay, yeah, and the decision maker, yeah, okay, decision maker, but also the person on site, the site manager, maybe. Okay, who are the people first that you need to experience this? Okay, then right now, just role play through what happens when you arrive, what happens when you deliver the service, what happens afterwards. Okay, those 3 stages. Yeah, that's so great. So how are you going to bring these 3 things alive, these principles alive? Go, practice, right? So off you go. Come back, and they present, right, role play their customer experience. Everyone else watches. Okay, with the tick box, where I've got these 3 things, and I've seen that, and I've seen that. 2 out of 3, and individual. How'd it go? Well, what do you think? Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but it's not right.
Yeah.
Go back, try again, try get the 3rd bit in, and off you go. Come back, 3 things in. Now you got it. Years ago, it's fun. I remember I was working with a very exciting young business in south of England, and they were reinventing party hard holidays, right? So where you go on holiday, youngsters really cheap.
Oh, the 18 to 30
18,
things.
30.
Okay, I see.
And we were reinventing this whole experience, right? Because it had become tired and the same thing, right? Yeah. And these 2 guys, really smart guys, enter the market. We could reinvent this. So it's very exciting working with these guys. And so we put this brand together, and we went through the whole process and defined the customer experience principles and all the rest of it. And we put the brand book together, and I said, Chris, will you come out to Magaluf and do the brand training? I said, well, tough job, but someone's got to do it, right? So off I went to Magaluf, right? Yeah. So we're there, and there are these teams of people that we're going to then deliver this whole new customer experience brand thing for the season ahead, right? And it was all a training session for them, right? So I had this room full of all these youngsters ready to rock and roll out in Kavos and Magaluf and wherever they were going. So we did this thing. I said, right, so what are some things you offer? Well, we do beach parties, we do boat parties, and we do paint. I said, fantastic. They are 3 examples. Off you go. Yeah. And do it. Rehearse it. These 3 things, right? And they came back, and some of them got it, some groups got it, some didn't. But they all got the 3 things. And they all knew what they had to do to get that total experience. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's customer experience, really.
Yeah, I had I done one. Henry Winter. So he helped me with a thing to understand customer experience, and I'll tell you a story. It was that if you go into a cafe and you go up to the counter and you order your breakfast from, let's say, a lovely looking person, man or woman, and you then go and sit down and they bring over your breakfast and they put it on the table for you and then they walk away, that's customer service. But if they were to turn around and come and give you a kiss on the cheek, you're now going back into that cafe pretty much every day. Every time you're there. That's customer experience.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Brilliant.
That kiss is one of the 3 things that they're doing.
Exactly, that's it, yeah. So that's what I think. So whenever I tell them, I always get a laugh at it because I'm like, but then that's so true. Because if you're there, all of a sudden you're like, I wasn't expecting it, but look what I just got. And now, okay, right, I'm coming back tomorrow. What if I get it again? And you do. And that's just the way they deliver their service.
Right.
You know, so it's just, it's quite insane, isn't it, how you think about it? You know, just that tiny, tiny change suddenly gets you the higher recommendation, as you say.
Again, it's not what they're doing, it's how they do it.
That's right. Yeah,
and
definitely.
It's the way you do it. That's what gets results.
Yeah.
And I think that sounds corny, but it's true. It's simple. It's you've got to stay focused. And do you know what? It's really fun and engaging for those that want to be part of that journey because it's rewarding. I remember years ago, I was working on a great British brand, Early Learning Centre, so developmental toys, and everything else. And it kind of lost its way, and I got brought in to kind of get it back on track and give it a future and things like that. And you know, we went in, and the magic of the store, the sweet spot, was actually engaging with children, engaging with parents, engaging with aunties and uncles that didn't quite know what was the right toys to buy for little very, very young kids. So what used to happen was you get on the floor, get the toys out, and things were played with and things were demonstrated. And unfortunately, the business at the time lost sight of that. And actually said, well, actually, we can save money by, not wasting as many toys, by opening them, and we can save money here. And actually, it turned into almost like a pilot high, sell it cheap type thing, which of course is taking it away from its sweet spot. So hang on a minute. What's the magic of this brand? The magic of this brand is the richness and fun and engagement of play. Let's get it out. Let's get it on the floor. Let's get these things out. And it sounds, simple. It was a really simple thing to do, but in a corporate context, people didn't see it. They couldn't see it. All they could see was, if we get these efficiencies in supply chain, if we get this and we scale this brand could sit within this other brand. We save a lot of money. They're thinking about the bottom line. They're not thinking about the midterm. They're not thinking about the brand at its best. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So we did these pilot stores, about 5 pilot stores around the country, and I did these auditions with playologists, and these were people that could understand what toys were right for the right development stage of children at a very young age, and then in a kind of science theology bit, and then get the play out on the floor in the store, and get the store team engaged in play with the customers to make it a hugely engaging place.
And also
no one else is doing
customer
it.
experience, then, isn't it?
Yeah,
Straight away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What happened? Queues of people outside the door. And it flowed straight through to the bottom line. Less than, I can't say obviously confidential with the numbers, but minimal investment, and all delivered maximum return straight away. Boom. Because it's all about customer experience.
So what would you say would be a great marketing strategy for SMEs to use in 2026, given the power of AI? We've touched on the point about it being a very personable tone and the message you need to get out, pain points, etc. What do you think could be some strategies that they may be able to use going into this new 2026?
Yeah, sure. Great. No, great question. So I think the first thing is very quickly understand let's just very quickly, when is this business really at its best? And it's a very quick assessment to do that. And actually, what does that look like if we go to market that way? How can we fine tune what we're already doing rather than reinvent? It's not about reinvention. It's about saying, hang on, let's reassess who are our real audience we're trying to get to. What parts of the market do we really think we can succeed in? Because a big mistake a lot of companies make is thinking, well, we're already trading here, so kind of, we know we can get some business from this. But actually, it could be a fish out of water. By refocusing, and that's the next part they need to do, is refocus and look at where else they think. What other markets, what other sectors of different markets or parts of different markets do they have the potential to really excite and shake it up and actually carve their own way? It's about blue ocean versus red ocean, right? So my point here is, how could you fine tune to better deliver a better customer experience that's more highly valued? A lot of time businesses are doing all the right things, but with slight changes, they can go from having an average customer experience to a great customer experience. And as we were saying earlier, if you can do that, you're going to get much better results for the same effort in, right?
Definitely. Well, like the kiss on the cheek.
The kiss on the cheek.
Something so small.
So first bit of advice is, what's the kiss on the cheek for your business?
That's it. Yeah,
right?
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
What's the kiss on the cheek for your business, right? Because that means you stay focused on the channels that you're in, the business is in, and it's not about reinventing. It's just about how do we get to the next level and get those stronger recommendations. A lot of businesses don't measure their customer experience. So if they don't measure the customer, get measuring it. Because here's the rub, right? If you've got strong recommendation and it creates 8+ lifetime value of a customer, the opposite is true. If you are getting, people are actually strongly not recommending you. Don't touch that business. It let me down. You can't trust it. It's inconsistent. So it slows down business growth. It prevents people coming into your brand because you don't know it, but people are bad-mouthing your brand for good reason. Because there's stuff going on that you don't know about. So unless you measure it, you don't know. So reassess, refine the customer experience, measure it. That would be the first thing. And then watch the growth just by doing what you do slightly better. Next thing is, as I mentioned, is where else could that business go to market? What new verticals, what new sectors, what parts? Sometimes it's not even a big jump of a market, it's just a different part of a market, and launching a more premium service or more value-added service or product. And a lot of it, people think, innovation's expensive, it's risky. It doesn't have to be. And a lot of times people think innovation is product innovation. No, customer experience innovation, service innovation. It's quick to do. It's often virtually zippo investment required, right? Very low risk, but high delight. So, that would be That would be my thing.
Yeah, that's really good, because with the sort of like the mention about the platinum part of things, I think with numbers being crunched in every area now, it's all under the microscope. I think value now is more required than ever before. You know, because if you've got 3 proposals on the table and they all look exactly the same, saying the same message,
Right.
then how are you going to stand out? It's only going to stand up coming down to price. But if you can add 3 or 4 elements of this service, customer experience, like delivery, over here, and that the other 2 are not offering, then all of a sudden they're like, well, okay, well, they're kind of similar in price, but these people offer X, Y, Z.
Right.
Now they're saying, okay, well, now it's a different conversation.
That's it.
And I think that's kind of really key, as you said, sort of like evaluate and even like you say, it's just upskilling or increasing the service you're already delivering.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
You maybe remember a business that we've been working at for over 4 years now, and when I arrived, they had a great value proposition, and I could actually see the layers of value that they were creating as part of their customer experience, which was better, more than the competitors, and but it was not invisible, but it was very difficult to see that. So actually, we're going, hey guys, you've got a great value proposition. If we just did this and we called it this, boom, there's a difference. And all of a sudden, big point of difference. And the value is visible. So question, how visible is the layers of value that your business is offering? Is it that clear? Is it hitting in the face?
It's so true, because you remind me of an incident that we had, and you mentioned we had the can-do attitude, if you remember, and it was and when you mentioned it, you go, right, we're going to brand that, we're going to market that. I'm like, but that's a given, we do that anyway. And you think, yeah, but we need to tell people about it. And so sometimes some of the stuff we take for granted as business owners or service delivery businesses, we kind of think, well, we're doing it anyway, so why? That's a given, is it not? But it turns out that when you do the research and you have the feedback form, that actually it isn't. Because when we asked our clients, why did you pick us and over other competitors? It was like, because they deliver exactly what they said they were going to deliver. Yeah. And you think, oh, I thought that was a given. You think, oh, clearly not. Okay, we're going to market that then. Yeah. You know, and it's just really fascinating when you take something for granted and you think, actually, that's what's your sweet spot, as you say, your USP in a sense, you know. And some people don't see that. No. So I think that evaluating part that you mentioned of one of the things you should do in 2026 is really, really important, because had we not done that, I wouldn't have understood these elements that we're already delivering, but we just got to bring value and awareness to it.
I mean, are people experiencing it? Are they feeling it? Are they telling you they're experiencing it? You know, and that's the thing. No,
it's brilliant. So, what would you say what would be a great marketing if they had a good system? You're into an SME. What would a good marketing system look like for an SME? Sort of like touch points.
Yep, great. So, what it's all about is about the process and systems to repeat things. So, first of all, the first part is what we're talking about: value proposition, target audiences, and clarity around who you're going after, and what your offer is, why your offer is better than the competition. Where's your competitive advantage, right? And that's everything we've been talking about now, the offer. And that's the first point. The next thing is about lead generation. It's about awareness. It's about establishing not just awareness, but meaning and awareness. What does the brand mean, actually? Because it's all very well being aware of a brand name, but if there's no meaning attached to it, it's meaningless, right? So if I said to you, John Lewis, Tesco, you kind of understand Waitrose. You kind of understand what they're about, what they mean, what their meaning is, right? But if I told you about, Blobbity Bogs or something like that, it doesn't mean anything to you. So you've got to establish meaning. So it's all very well. You've got to get that meaning, and you've got to get that out to those. So it's about a system for lead generation, a system for awareness, meaning, and also what the offer is and the pain points that the business solves. So that whole strategic bit up front is, what is the system to get your brand sweet spot in front of the right people? And it's a system. And what that is, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about you need to build your orchestra. Okay. So you need to understand, first of all, what are the decision makers, influencers we talked about earlier? What do they consume? And this is where AI is great, because AI can shine a light on something, and you can get it validated as well, so you can trust it. So it's understanding who you're trying to get to, and then what messages do they need to hear, the music, and then from what instruments. Because what channels are they consuming? Are they consuming LinkedIn? Yes or no? They might not be, right? So, you could be playing LinkedIn, but actually if they're not engaging with it or not on it, you might as well be in a back room somewhere and they're not getting it, right? So it's understanding what instruments need to be played, and that's a test and measure job. That's a trial. That's a trying to understand what's going on, what response, what engagement you're getting from the different channels, whether it's email, whether it's hard mail, whether it's whatever that instrument is, right? So it's figuring out, so building the orchestra, key thing, and testing it. Now, to do that, you're going to need a CRM, a marketing CRM, not an operations CRM. So in your business, you have an ops CRM for the operations and the guys out, I think, and you have a sales marketing CRM for the other side. Yeah. So it's about getting that and getting the right data in there, and getting the data in the customers and the prospects that you want to have in your business. That's all part of this system. So then the orchestra plays that music. The messages go out from these, and the frequency needs to be adjusted. The messaging needs to be adjusted all the time. It's testing and measuring the responses to that orchestra. And the great thing is, over a short period of time, you can actually prove that orchestra. And what I mean by prove the orchestra is that if you do X, Y, and Z, you get A, B, and C out the other end.
Right. So you know which lever to pull, when, and so on. Right. Okay.
And the key thing here is that marketing is profitable, becomes profitable. So it's all very well being able to generate leads, but are they the right leads? Is the cost of generating those leads, it's a point where marketing is profitable. So for every pound you invest in marketing, and that means everything, that means people cost, it means the activities you're doing, it means the CRM cost, all that stuff that's required to deliver it all. For every pound you invest in marketing, in the short term, in terms of within the fiscal year, you should be getting 2 to 3 pounds back at gross profit level. So we're talking about marketing return on investment here. Okay, so there's a system bit here to be set up. Okay, longer term, it's not, because when you bring a customer in and you're delivering a great customer experience and they want more, what they're going to do? They're going to stay with you for a long period of time.
Exactly, yeah, that's it.
So their lifetime value is 8, 10, 12, 15 times. Oh, sorry, your return on investment is 10, 15 times. So every pound you're investing, you're going to get much more back over that longer term. So the important point is investing in marketing in a system that's proven. So get the right leads, they convert, you get the right gross profit, because your brand's doing its hard work there. So you can command those price premiums and you can get that margin. And you've got that system set up. That's not everything though, right? Yeah. That's the bit. Yeah. So the strategy bit, the brand bit, everything else, that's all there. Yeah, your lead generation system and your measurability and your profitability. That, as a business owner, gives you confidence. Marketing's working now, right? That gives you confidence to invest more in it, right? But then what you've got to have is all the systems and processes around nurturing, keeping customers and retention. And because the more you can retain, the more profitable it's going to be, right?
That's it.
And the more advocates you're going to have going, right, buy into this business, right? So it's about what retention is there in that, and so what's the referral systems and strategies around? Hey, great to see you've had a great experience with us. Do you know of anyone else in your professional network that might benefit from the value that we deliver?
Yeah.
So what systems and processes around to make that repeatable and scalable? And so I think there's all sorts of things that, and it sounds onerous, but it's not. It's a journey, Brad. It's not a project.
Definitely. And I think that's what most people sort of like misunderstand, is like the quick wins and so on, the low hanging fruit, which perhaps in some cases you could get.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at the journey, like mine has been, well, since 6 years, and pretty much everything that we implemented back then is still exactly the same now. And I hope it's going to be for a long period of time. So although that massive investment at the beginning is still proving its worth 6, 7, 8, 10 years later. But on the systems part, what it is so I heard the thing, like, imagine you could have like 2 customers, and if you haven't got the right system in place to deliver the right message and the tone that you want and the brand, etc., you could have 2 completely different feedback.
Yeah.
Couldn't you? One of them was that this company is absolutely amazing, and the other one was like, don't even go anywhere near them because of XYZ. And that's understanding the system part of it, which I think comes back to what you do, that's why I think it's so good. So that's why I really wanted to have that conversation, because I didn't want marketing just to be like, oh, just this pay-per-clicks and that sort of thing. There was so much more to it that I really wanted to get across. But no, well, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've really appreciated it. Thank you very much. And listening to some of the stuff you said, it reminded me, actually, I'm going to go away and make some notes, actually. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that part. Okay, right, cool. Yeah, so yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. But where can people find you if they wanted to get in touch? Where's the best place to get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm part of the Marketing Centre. There's several versions of me, about 80, 90 of us in the UK that are experienced.
Surely there's not more than one Chris Burton. Surely not.
Maybe, maybe. But we've all had experience in big corporate companies, learned all our marketing skills in the big corporate world, and then had active experience in small to medium-sized businesses. I've been working with small to medium-sized business now about 15 years now, and absolutely love the journey for all the reasons we talked about.
Yeah.
Making a difference quicker and more profound and more meaningful. So yeah, I'm at the Marketing Centre, and
What's the website for that?
yeah, it's themarketingcentre.com.
And your LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's Chris Burton.
Yeah, Chris.Burton at themarketingcentre.com.
Brilliant. Okay. Chris, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much for having me, Brad. It's been great going back over our stories and talking real marketing.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.